All right. Welcome to GUFON, everybody. I'm your host, Rich Giordano. It is April 12th, 2025. We're back. Yeah, wasn't a good day yesterday, but we're back for the live on Saturday. Yeah, it was the whole day. Probably might be the last time I puke. So get this. I go to the doctor Thursday. We're going to start you on insulin. Great. Great. Finally, because every other diabetic medication made me very lethargic, like I was getting the flu. So this should work. So I go to get my prescription and they say, "Oh, we're out of stock." What do you mean you're out? I mean, I know what that means, but how can you? Well, yeah, it's not up to us. What if I haven't started it yet, so I'm not desperate, but what happens if I needed this? Just asking. Oh, well then we'll find a another pharmacy that has it. So I have to drive all around town. Well, we could have it delivered here, but unless you want to go get it, you're more than welcome to. Oh, all right. Well, that's all I was wondering. Just in case I run out, I'll make sure that I don't. But my God, I didn't know that this was an issue running out of yeah, it's been hit and miss. Okay. Right. Well, I'm glad I didn't start, but the doctor prescribed a pill to take once a week, and it's this 1250 milligram vitamin D pill. And it's ergo something. Let me see if I still have the name of it. Yeah, ergo calciferol. Have you guys ever heard of this? Also known as vitamin D2, is a fat soluble vitamin that helps the body absorb calcium and phosphorus to build strong bones and teeth. It's used to treat and prevent bone disorders like rickets and osteomalacia, I don't know how to say it, and low calcium levels due to hypoparathyroidism. Hypoparathyroidism, like a hyperactive thyroid. It can also be used as a dietary supplement to treat vitamin D deficiency caused by liver disease, not me, or intestinal absorption, or poor intestinal, that's me. So ergocalciferol is an odorless and appears as white crystals. My pill was green. Yeah. Anyway, so I take the pill earlier today and I'm flying. I don't know why, but I'm really like in focus for one. It may not sound like it, but I mentally it's probably absorbed into my imaginary belief that it is working that quickly. But I'm just happy to say we're on the track to recovery. Now, here's the good news. If my levels all get good, my sugar levels, if I can keep them for 2 months, not 3, it could be 3 if I want it to be, but 2 months, they said, if I can keep them normal, I can get the operation on my foot to rebuild it. And in 5 months, I could be back to me. Wouldn't that be weird? I don't even know me. Do you know the whole time GUFON has existed, I've had this issue? Yeah. I mean, it's finally dissipating to a point where I'm not throwing up every 3 days, maybe every 2 weeks now, but Jesus, I'm not losing the weight like I used to, except this week I did. I didn't eat for 3 days. Like, all I had was a bowl of soup, like Gatorade, and that's it. I mean, it was terrible. Yeah, I cramped up because I was dehydrated. I cramped up so much I injured my hamstring. Terrible. But it's all going to be ending. So, hey, I figure I let you guys know what's going on just in case I keel over and die. Then you'll know where we were and why that might have happened. It's good to let the world know. Nobody cares but me. It's true. Hey, missing shows, I hate. It's my biggest pet peeve that I do to me when I miss a show. I used to kill myself over it if I got sick, but I've gotten sick so often, I'm like, they understand. You guys get it. Yeah. So tonight, I want to talk a little bit about Tom DeLonge. Not much, but I thought it was an interesting thought. Like, where is he? He's been really quiet for a couple of years, hasn't he? Yeah, every now and then he'll post something, but he's not the guy. Was that Elizondo when they were on that little TV show together after he said what he did on Joe Rogan? Look, I get it. They want to be 100% professional. Don't say penis. Don't talk about your penis. I got yelled at for that from the old Art Bell producer when he ran this thing, his channel, and you can't talk about. Yeah, it was a joke I made, and it was the word penis was in it. You can't do that. Why? What is wrong with you? We have a hard enough time with credibility. But America, people are smart. They're not stupid. They know the difference between a guy being a jagoff like me, joking around about everybody and everything. They get it. It's the way I disseminate the truth. You'd think people would be over it by now. Poor Tom DeLonge. They knew what they were getting into when they signed up. They used him. They abused him. And I believe Eligonzo made him look stupid in front of people. Oh, you're not in the military? You don't understand our language, buddy boy. Well, you weren't in a band. And the only talent you have, Lou, is to take orders. Tom's out. That's how it went. They had discussions and arguments, right? During that show. And they were doing it. Yeah. You see them sitting in the car. They couldn't have been recorded looking more uncomfortable. It looked like a father and son after the son struck out with bases loaded to win the game in the Baseball Little League World Series. And he strikes out, and on the way home, the father is just can't even look at his kid. The kid, he knows it. He keeps looking at his father. You still love me? That's what Tom DeLonge was doing with Eligonzo. Eligonzo's like, you struck out. You failed us. You talked about your penis. I can't even look at you. And Tom's like, but I did everything everybody asks. I just blew off a little steam. You know who I am. You're out, Tom. Please don't. Please. You're out. Don't you cry. There's no crying in ufology. It's UFOlogy. It's ufology. We'll talk about Tommy. Poor little Tom. I feel for him because it's me, On a little level, on a tiny little level like this. Moody Mongol, everybody. Moody Mongol. Welcome to the show, Moo Moo. Why didn't I come up with that one a while back? Good for you. David Wilcox, not Wilcox. If he only read the chat. Now what? Vomit. What's up, Vomit? How you doing? Welcome to this show. I'm looking to see, and this will be the last time I do it. Anytime I see somebody, too bad he doesn't read the chat. This is the last time I'm going to look. Because I think you guys are fucking with me. That there's nothing here that I need to look at. And every time I look in here, I don't see anything. Yeah. Yeah, Bob. There's a difference. Lou takes orders. He doesn't have the talent to think for himself or the gift to do things on his own. He's told where to go, what to do, and how to do it. We want you to go here, do this, talk to that person, and lie. Lie like you do to your wife. Thanks, Lou. That's who he is. That's not a talent. It turns into a job. Hey, wait, you know what? It is a talent. If you're good at it. Was Lou good? Or was he so bad he got thrown into the UFO cellar to be the guy he is now? Unhappy, miserable prick. What's this? Don't worry, Richie. If you pass, we Goofonians will give you a Viking funeral. We shall set you a sail on a Viking longboat made entirely of your baseball cap and sports t-shirts collection. That's the greatest and the most nicest thing anybody's ever said to me. I would love for you to take my shirts and make a flag out of it, like a tapestry. Oh my God, guys. Do it before I die, like the day before, so I see it and I realize you guys really get it. I need to know before I go. Don't worry, it's not until the year 2036, March, first week or so. Welcome to the show. Glenn Collins, what do you say? How you doing? Marcy Hill. Good to see you. Oh, the Egyptian magician. Love the Egyptian magician. Hey, Bob Perkins. I don't know what I was going to say. Sal Rosenberg, damn you, Derek Kennedy. Joe Monk says, stop talking about, I didn't talk about my penis. It was about the word. P. Ness. Hey, William Bridges. Thank you for the membership upping. I was looking for it. And I don't see where it is. I don't see it. But thank you. I know you, I heard the bell ring right at the beginning of the show. Thank you for your continuing support, like forever. Really. Hey, Jeanette. How's the eye? Jeanette turned into a pirati. Yeah. She's a piratess. She's got a patch over the eye. Yeah. When you hear her speak, oh, lady, what can I do? You know, and she's got that British accent. It's crazy weird. I don't know. That was the worst. I don't know what that was. I was trying to make a joke. It didn't work. Swing and a miss. Well, I hope your eye feels better. The angel of GUFON. Metalhead. Welcome to the show. There he is. Bridges. Bob Perkins. Paris Diamond. How you doing, Par? I am not allergic to spoons. Spoons want to scoop me up and abduct me. I won't let him. It was 35 months and needs 35 balls. Ma, meatballs. We have an intercom system now. Ma. Ma. Anyway. There it is. There he goes. Thank you very much. You didn't have to tell me that way, but I appreciate the $2 super chat. Wow. Ma! 35 balls. Turn it on. Bridges, William. She's like, I heard you the first time. Just like her texts. She doesn't answer. You know what she does if you type more than one sentence? She doesn't read. She'll look at her phone and she'll read the heading, and that's it. And it'll say something like 8 o'clock sound good? And then after that, it'll say, or how does 9 o'clock sound? She'll come back and say 9 o'clock, or how about 7 or something. You know, she'll like say something that has nothing to do. She just doesn't read the whole text. You know what I mean? Anyway. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. I think we're getting off to a slow start. Thank you, Mr. Bridges, for your continuing support. If you want to help everybody support, boop, super chat, super sticker, PayPal, Snap, all the links are in the show description. You know what to do. I don't even need to tell you, but there's always somebody new sneaking in, acting like they don't know. Support Truthology for UFOlogy. Did you see last night, in the middle of the night, 3 a.m., Billy Carson interview on Third Phase of Moon? You didn't see it? Well, you've got to see some of this right now. I don't even know what to say. I'm not going to say much. We're just going to watch. Please say a prayer for those involved. Giddy up. Volume
Welcome
1?
back to Third Phase of Moon. Blake Cousins.
No.
We're here with Billy Carson from Forbidden Knowledge. He's got a lot to say. We've heard of the major blockbuster theories with regards to what's going on in Egypt and what's going on below it. 2 miles below the surface of the Great Pyramids, we have something that could be extraordinary and could change the world forever. And we're going to get to that among a lot more stuff. The UFOs, they're coming in. And then we've got our documentaries. Washington, D.C.'s talking about it. The president just spoke about it yesterday with regards to assets that the world can't even dream of. So quite incredible what's going on. Billy, thanks for joining us right here at Third Phase. How you doing?
Hey, great, man. It's an honor to be back on here. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We're, you're the first I thought of when we heard the first news with regards to what's going on, the rumbling from underneath these major pyramids. What was your first impression of this news that was dropped? We're going to be showing some graphics here. Billy, go ahead.
My first impression was, I told you so. I had talked about this for the last 10 years. And then even in my book that came out 5.5 years ago, the Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, on page 34, I even put a rendering of what it might look like in the book with columns going deep beneath the earth. And in the book, I say that they go on for miles. So this is something I have been talking about for a while, based on the descriptions and some of the information in the verses of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth
That's
themselves.
crazy.
And also some words from Herodotus, and a few other figures that come from the ancient past. They had all in some way, well, Thoth claims to have built this underground structure, but Herodotus and others had claimed to actually have had a chance to see it, which is amazing. And so I had known that it hypothetically could be down there. And so I wrote about this 5.5 years ago and even made a rendering of what it might look like. And now,
hold on. You got to give the guy a little credit. if he thought of this all on his own, you got to admit that's pretty close, right?
Now I'm on the right side of history once again.
Wow, that's
It
incredible.
really is
And
amazing.
you know, the implications of what you theorized 5 years before this even broke. And we're going to get into why the mainstream's not covering this at the moment. There's rumblings that they might be on top of it, but the implications of some of your theories. How far do you think civilization has gone back to create this mega
Yeah.
structure? If it's really there underneath the pyramids, this isn't
Mhm.
kind of
30,000 years.
a prototype or a
Yeah.
mistake. This is a one-time application. They knew what they're doing from the beginning, in my opinion. So
Oh, yeah.
how far
Oh, for sure.
back do you think this goes?
This goes back at least 36, 38,000, maybe
Wow.
40,000 years. Now, what's interesting is the scientist, the head scientist, Filippo Biondi, who actually was in charge of the team of scientists that positioned this satellite directly over Giza. And thank goodness he did this. And of course, he did not go and get permission from the government or anything else. Thank goodness he didn't go ask them anything, because they would have told him no.
That's right.
He scanned from space with a satellite using a SAR scan, not any type of SAR scan, though. He used a specific type of a SAR scan. And this was able to pick up minute vibrations within the Earth to then send that data of the vibrations to a computer to create this new type of hybrid Doppler effect, which can give you an image as to what's solid and what's not solid, and to recreate what's down there.
Wow.
And what they came back with is absolutely astounding. It's so astounding that the pyramids themselves
Right.
are
Wow.
like nothing.
Right.
It's like, this is just a grain of sand. The pyramid is not even a big deal anymore. When you can really wrap your mind around what is underneath the Giza plateau, it will blow you away.
Have we seen the actual pictures yet from underneath, guys? Have we? Or we just saw a depiction, right? We haven't seen any photos or anything yet. We know this is there, but I want to see the photos and videos.
If we went to a developer and said, hey guys, we'd like to build this area underneath this bedrock, and then we'd like to put the bedrock back.
Right.
And I've been in Egypt and I've been standing directly on top of where the bedrock was cut. I just didn't know that that was the opening to get to this huge, massive structure. I had been in other areas underneath the pyramids, but never into that gaping wide area with all these columns and so forth. But I know the exact location where the cuts were made to open up the plateau. So you go to a developer, you say, hey, can you reproduce this this architectural template or blueprint underneath this bedrock, and then put the bedrock back? And it's going to have to encompass about 8 Burj Khalifas underground, because that's what can fit down there. 64,000 people can fit in that opening down there in that space. And they're going to say to you, you got $50 trillion in about 20 years, because it's not something that they can just say, okay, sign the contract and give us a deposit and we'll start working on it tomorrow.
Why?
This is an engineering feat greater than anything on Earth at this exact moment. So when you
wait, why can't we? I don't understand. Is he talking about making it or visiting it?
Think about this. You have to take all these theories, mud ramp theory, slaves built the pyramid theory, all these ridiculous theories, you got to throw them out the window, because this engineering feat is so great and so grand, it tops everything that we have built in today's modern society.
It changes everything.
And so you have to begin to ask a question. How did they do this, and why would they do this? Well, they did it because for them, it was easy. For us,
doesn't it? It definitely feels like there was an ancient civilization that had magnificent tools, and I'm not sure if Egypt has hidden all of these artifacts that have powers or energy or whatever. I think they have that stuff. You know what this reminds me of? I'm going to pull it up. I'm not going to tell you yet, but I got it. Listen to this and I'll pull it up. You're going to love what I think is going on here. Here we go. And where'd they got this idea?
We can't even fathom it, but for them it was
Oh,
easy.
wait. I'm going to tell you that this idea might have been out there for about 35, 40 years, maybe even longer. That these long things, these whatever underneath the pyramids, they knew about them, but nobody ever talked about them. So when this guy came out and did these satellite scans and really got no permission, he just did it. Yeah, it opened up a little Pandora's box, just a little one. All right.
You can't use the resources of your entire civilization to construct a structure, a mega structure underground like this that goes on for miles unless you know it's going to work. You have to have something called foreknowledge. Because if you don't have foreknowledge and you build this and it fails, you destroy the resources of your entire civilization on a whim. Can't happen. They knew that this was going to work. They knew how they were going to build it. They understood the process and the meaning and the purpose for it. And they created something that is so magnificent. I just recently saw the LiDAR scans, and I'll send that over to you to implement in this video. There's still energy moving under there. So we have now actual scans of the energy moving back and forth. Something is still active down there. So this is amazing. That's one of the great.
It's still active. All right. It's still active. Check this out. There was a movie that used this concept. Maybe they knew, maybe they didn't. But do you remember the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger called Total Recall? When they go to Mars and they found out that they had these long towered structures under to melt the ice, but it looks really amazing. It's similar to what, you know, we see in what they're showing us here. Let me pull it up. You can see how it's round right there. I can't play it, but those towers. We don't want to turn it on. They think it was there millions of years. They don't really know. Hundreds of thousands of years. But the aliens never turned it on. Why didn't the aliens turn it on? And then remember, Schwartzy turns it on with his hand paw. This was when the Quaid. Remember? Don't touch the reactor. And then he got all. Remember how his face exploded? How fake that looked? Yeah, so you remember the movie, and they had those long things that came down and it melted the ice, and kind of reminds me of that. It's interesting. So it seems to me that this is a power source of some sort, and it's still active. According to what Billy was just saying, there's movement or some sort of vibration.
Greatest discoveries in human history.
Yeah, it's basically the major discovery of humankind, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If this is brought forth front, what's up with the government? Hawass basically said that these guys were amateurs, that they don't know what they're talking about, and you know the major media is still not touching it. Why would the Egyptian government not jump on top of this? This would create a massive tourist industry the world hasn't ever seen.
Well, there's a couple of reasons. One thing, I really do believe that they have some type of a gag order and they're being paid. And why do I say this? Well, the first thing is, in 2014, I went to the Great Pyramid with a gentleman named Muhammad Gamal and the woman that was the guide. I think her name was Iman. Yeah, Iman. We get to the entrance to
Amon.
go inside the Great Pyramid.
Oh no, it's Iman.
And Iman is talking to one of the security and the Board of Antiquities representative. They brought me to meet him personally because I was going to start doing a lot of tours in Egypt.
I thought you had
They're
4
having
kids.
this conversation, and they're both kind of
you
like
know,
their facial
man.
expressions are kind of shocking, and they're speaking in Arabic. And at the time, I didn't know a lot of Arabic. My first time being to Egypt, and I said, "What's going on? What's the matter?" And she said, "Something they just told me blew me away. That NASA owns the rights to the interior of the Great Pyramid."
What?
And they had a meeting about it, and they might, at some point in the future, they might shut down access to the interior of the Great Pyramid.
That's right. Yep.
And I'm going, what? So when you say, like, why would they shut this down? If you can remember, or I don't know if you knew this, India.
So far, there's no 100% proof, right, Michael? There's no proof this is there. They're only speculating, right? As best as they can with the knowledge they have. They got fuzzy data as far as I'm concerned. But I don't know if we're ever going to know in our lifetimes the actual truth in high definition detail.
IRSO.
And that bugs me.
They raised $3 million.
It's like, why even bother if you're not going to go the full way, you know?
Only $3 million, and sent a satellite all the way to Mars and had it orbit Mars and transmit images of Mars back. The images came back in true color. It showed pockets of water. It showed the true color of Mars, and it showed light scattering blue atmosphere. And NASA instantly contacted them. The head of NASA at the time was Bolden. Mr. Bolden flew all the way to India. And within 3 weeks, he had signed a gag deal with India and paid them and made them partners with NASA and had them pull that image down and put up what they call a false color image, which means it's all red hued. Okay?
Say word.
So NASA's basically
have a history of doing this.
NASA's just blocking out, taking over somebody's, $3 million to get these pictures that you're talking about. That's pennies on the dollar what NASA does. And then they pull.
Well, we'll come back to this amazing interview with Willie Carson, the Egyptian magician, is here in studio. I'd like to share a little bit of the Egyptian magician.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
I called you before. My name is the Egyptian magician.
The Egyptian magician?
Right. I called. They told me to call back in 10 minutes.
Hold on. Hi, can I help you? Hi, this is Carol, the night manager.
Yes, my name is Tarbash, the Egyptian magician. I do magic act.
Okay. If you want to come in and audition,
What I do, I eat hot coal.
that's great.
I stab customer and I with saber. And I sick my cat on my performers and they maul them on stage.
Wow.
But in my country, that's considered entertainment.
That's considered magic.
Right.
Right.
And then I light people on fire, but it is, fake, And
It's fake.
Right. But that's what I do. The Egyptian magician.
The Egyptian magician.
Here we go.
Right. Then for encore, I punch my chest and then it disappeared to the crowd.
Wait for it.
You punch your chest and it disappears in a cloud.
Yes, my friend.
That's it?
Yes, my friend.
Well, if you want to stop by, you would only be able to do 2 tricks.
Okay, that's good enough for me. I'm the best.
Okay, every Wednesday night.
Then I have small mountain cat
The mountain cat.
that I terrorize people.
You terrorize people with the mountain cat. Okay, well, I don't know if you better not bring the mountain cat in for the first time.
Okay.
Okay? Come by 8:45, sign up, and see how you do.
Okay, and then maybe just for extra bonus, I choke some of you faculty staff.
Yeah, you choke the staff. Yeah, okay. Whatever.
Okay, then I come out with whip.
Yeah, you come out with the whip. Okay, we'll stop by and we'll see how the act goes.
Okay, my friend.
Thank you, my friend.
Wait a minute. what am I missing? I thought he pulled large pieces of furniture out of his ass. Is that another call? I don't remember it that way. That's weird. Yeah, I don't understand that. That really scares me. I think I'm losing it. Had the insulated job.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, how you doing? I'm calling about the insulator job.
Insulator job?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. Did you call before?
No, I didn't call before. Did you recognize the voice?
No, because I'm just asking. The person who is taking care is not here today.
Well, how about I tell you a little bit of information?
I don't know much about it, that's why.
Well, what do you know?
I know estimating.
Well, you know the estimating, huh? But you don't know about working with this insulation shit.
No, I don't know. I don't go to the jobs often during the job.
I can bet you don't, because you'd be itching your ass if you did, pal. That shit makes you itch.
All right. Okay. You got to wear long clothes, the breathers, the respirators, the whole nine. All right, let's get back to ufology with the jerky boy, Rich Giordano. So we're going to take a break from Killy Barson for a minute, and we're going to look into ufology today. And with that being said, there is, well, not a lot going on today. But what I found was a Christopher Mellon post in a recent X post. He says, I called a former Hill colleague, Kirk McConnell, who thankfully was willing to give Eligonzo and me an audience, and we took it from there. And the disclosure movement pushes onward and upward. Oh, would they please? Oh, who was that guy? What was that guy who did that? What was his name? Can't remember that comedian's name. Here we go.
Chris Mellon, actually, since the late 1980s, when I first started working in the Senate, he was a staffer for, at the time, Senator Bill Cohen from Maine on the Senate Intelligence Committee. So I'd known Chris forever. I saw his name associated with this, and it was easy to reconnect with Chris. And we met Lou, and we met Dr. Putoff and Dr. Davis, and
Dr. Putoff,
the other folks who had been working on the ranch in Utah, and we met Brandon Fugel,
Skinwalker
Ranch. We interviewed Navy pilots,
Zig Fugel,
a succession of them. We also found Dave Fravor and Alex Dietrich, who had been pilots in the Tic Tac.
You know, I don't hold her accountable for her actions, even though I should. I think she was dragged into this and played along, and then she did the smart thing, was to lay low. Even though she was still talking a little here and there, she wasn't trying to force any belief on anybody. She just kind of rolled with the punches. It was an interesting thing with her. I think because she, and I hate this, guys, but maybe it's because she is a woman, and you know, we don't really attack their character as much as we want to, and we should, because she's a lying bee, just like David Frey and everybody else. He forgot to turn his helmet cam on during the most important part when it moved and he chased it. Come on. And she went along with it. She's just as dirty. Shame on you, Dietrich.
Episode back in 2004. We met with people from the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and the Navy and so on. So we were covering a lot of ground in a relatively short order. and there was a lot of interest on the part of members.
See, this is what bothers me about David Fravor and this whole thing in 2019 with Ryan Graves and his Flyboys. The whole thing doesn't make sense. You mean to tell me in 2004 they were seeing them all the time, and you mean to tell me there was only one encounter? And then in 2019, we saw them every day, just about for 2 years, every day. Yeah, every day. And nobody got in a one-on-one. Nobody followed any closely. Nobody got any FLIR footage. Nothing on a radar. Nothing on a camera. Come on. Pee on my leg and tell me you're spitting. I had to change it. I'm sick of the raining. Boy, we had a good storm. Man, that was a good one. But anyway, so you mean to tell me out of all those encounters, nobody has anything on video? Really? High def? That we could see a snapshot, a snippet, a freaking corner piece? Show us something. Nope. Why? Only we get to see it. That's why. Join the military. You want to see it? Join the military. You want to see it? Get a government job. No, thank you. I'd rather be human a little longer than a robot who will lose control of everything they thought they had control of. Stay out of the government. It's terrible. Ah, juicy fruit. Unbelievable. Okay.
Pull off these high-res images, and then NASA swoops in and says, none of this, we're buying you out, gag order. And now, for the first time I think I've ever heard of this, that NASA owns the
rights to the access to the interior of the Great Pyramid. And they also own some of the rights to Chaco Canyon and a certain area in the Grand Canyon that I tried to go walk up in 2000, I think it was 2018. And I got stopped by guys with these black military type outfits on with no insignias, no logos, no badges, but they had they had AR-15s and black hats and dark glasses. And they stopped me from going in that area. I was told by the guide that we had, you couldn't go over there, but I tried to sneak off when they were having lunch and I got caught up and it was a big story, but they stopped me. And I said, let me ask you a question. I'm going to back off, but why can't I come over here? Guess what they said? NASA owns the rights to this area and it's private. Well, aren't we paying taxes to NASA in some kind of way? I think our taxes fund that program or whatever, but I don't know. But again, the NASA narrative comes up again. So India, Egypt.
No, we do not fund NASA, right? We don't fund NASA.
The Grand Canyon, Chaco Canyon. There's 4 places that I know now that NASA has some level of control on antiquities and ancient knowledge.
And don't forget space, all the videos that have been suppressed.
Yeah.
This is astonishing. So let's get to the function of this. Let's just go back in time, 40,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Did this, in your opinion, happen in a short amount of time? Did it come from the skies and just kind of embed itself into the surface? Or what was the engineering and bottom line, the function of this thing?
Look at that.
Well, when you go into some of the ancient texts, you read in the text that Thoth is what his father taught me, who's known as Enki in the Sumerian tablets. And his father tells him it's time to fulfill the plan that we know of, or that ye know of. He said, get your crew together and get into the great ship of the master and, go handle business. And what the business was, what the mission was, he said that the fountains had receded and the temples were coming up out of the mud. So he tells his son Thoth to get his crew together, get into the skyship, and they sail upwards into the sky. They don't go across an ocean. They go up until the planet literally disappears. This is in the text. Then when they get to the place appointed, they
Crazy.
said, beneath us, we see the children of the land of Chem. They're talking about ancient Kemet, pre-dynastic Egypt. Before it was called Egypt by the Greeks, it was actually called Kemet. He says he can see the people beneath down, so they decide to descend. So again, this is a word that's demonstrating height and being above something, altitude. They descend down to the land. When he opens up the doors to the ship and starts to come out, these people, they call them barbarians, come to attack him, probably because they're trying to protect their territory. He says he raises his staff and sends out a ray of vibration, stopping him still as fragments of stone of a mountain. So he has this kind of a stun, non-lethal stun weapon. So I started looking into, can a weapon like this actually even exist today? And I found the active denial system in the US military. I'll send you the images for this. It's in my book. I wrote this in my book 5 years ago. The book, the image of the active denial system from the military, the link to the source, everything's in there. And they can send a beam, a ray of energy at a group of people looking to attack or riot, and they can actually freeze them in their tracks. They can make them feel like they're in pain. They can make them vomit. They can put voices in their head. They can make them feel like they're on fire. It's a repelling, non-lethal frequency that Thoth says he has this 36,000 years ago in the ancient text. But now he says, now as I'm here with these people, he says they begin to grovel at his feet because he's showing them his magic science. That translates today into advanced technology. So they believe he's a god. But as they grovel at his feet, he stops them and says, no, I'm not a god. I'm a son of Atlantis. And I'm here to bring you back up to a high level of civilization. Meaning at one point in the past, prior to this great catastrophe, probably the Younger Dryas incident, they were already a high civilization. And he had been there before. But he says, I'm here to bring you back up to a high level. And he says, long we stayed in Chem, yet long and yet long again. So he's saying we were there for years and years and years, helping to rebuild this civilization after this great flood. And then he said to his team when it was done, spread out around the world and duplicate what we did here. And that's why you see similar temple style, similar structures, similar pyramids.
Where we know exactly what's
I want to
underneath
jump
the ground
forward
to show that this technology is working. And have they
see
done
what
this
it
to
does.
other pyramids?
What he thinks
Mexico,
it does.
for example.
Great question. Phenomenal question. So the reason why they came in to debunk right away, first of all, is because they definitely have a control structure that they don't want to oppose, and they don't want to get those people pissed off. That's number one. They try to debunk it before even looking at the research materials. Now, I'm not sure if they had successfully done this before. I know that they had tested it prior to Egypt and got good results. And then they said, hey, let's try this over the pyramids and see what's down there. So they did test it out. But the critics of this, like Zahi Hawass and a couple of other mainstream architects, try to say that the synthetic aperture radar, which is called the SAR, S-A-R, it can't penetrate 2 kilometers underground. But see, that tells you that they didn't read the research paper, because unlike ground penetrating radar, this Filippo Biandi's SAR technology uses something called X-band microwaves at 10 gigahertz with a 3-centimeter wavelength. And that actually penetrates the Earth. And then what it does, it sends the frequency in there, and then it senses all of the surrounding minute vibrations. So instead of directly scanning underground, it doesn't do that. It detects subtle surface vibrations and minute shivers that trigger this resonance. And that resonance then is converted into data, which then is converted into a rendering of what's down there. It's a revolutionary technique. I've been trying to get a hold of this Filippo Biondi because I want to help him fund whatever he needs to fund to move this over other areas like Antarctica, where the research bases are, what's underneath the ice, what's underneath the pyramids in Antarctica. I want to find out what's in the jungles of the Amazon, what's in Peru in the jungles, what's in all these until Teotihuacan.
God almighty, there are so many things that are just buried. And the things that are already seen are just the tips of the proverbial iceberg. There's so much to do. It'll never, ever be figured out in our lifetimes. That makes me Well, life is kind of interesting. Have you ever noticed there's a mystery? Like, as soon as we're born into a mysterious world, a world with a history that is either forgotten, purposely forgotten, or hidden on purpose, or hidden by accident. All I know is my whole life we've been talking about the pyramids, and we don't know that much more. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've learned anything extra other than new findings, but nothing about the pyramids since I've been born. That doesn't bode well for science, because how can they not tell us what's there and hide it? What's under the Sphinx? What's under all three of those pyramids? The little one is really special. I just watched a little 10-minute documentary about why it's so weird. But there are these weird blocks that are on the bottom that aren't on the other pyramids anywhere. They kind of have a bubble to them, but when they round off, they meet at an apex. And I can't explain it. I have to show it, but look for the small pyramid at Giza, and look for that. I could pull it up probably. Let me see in my history. Yeah, I should be. I just want to show you the rocks because it's interesting. Like, why? What are they doing? Why? Why would that be there? Yeah, it's very, very interesting to me. All right, what's going on? Oh, I got to get to Rich Saves account because that's where I watched it. History. Here we go. I got to show you these. Shouldn't be that hard to find. All right, here we go. I've never seen anything like it. That's what I like. That's what I want to see something new at least every year. Every year we should be getting something new from the pyramid discovery. Not, whatever, anything. There's so much we don't know that they hide. And what about all the stuff in the Smithsonian Institute? Right? The stuff that they will never let us see? Ever? It's in secret rooms and yeah. See, I don't like that. Shouldn't be that way. Bear with me. Starting to get a little frustrated. I don't remember watching this many. A lot of tornadoes in Florida and Georgia and Tennessee. Yeah. I think I found it. I don't know how. But I found it. It's called Menkaure. That's the third pyramid. All right. In 3, 4, 2, 1. Engage.
Pyramid on Giza, the small one that people mostly don't pay attention to. But it has this very interesting stonework at the base of it. This is not insubstantial amounts of stone, as you can see from the people standing here. These are huge blocks. They have to be tilted, and they're also, notice how they're kind of puffy or like pillowy. So they were leaving extra material on because they were gonna flatten it like this. There's a lot of interesting ideas about these. Kyle and I kind of lean towards the idea that they're functional. Like they were used for maneuvering and then they were cut off during the finishing process. Here you can see part of the flattened face.
We actually have some evidence after walking all the way around this pyramid looking. So you can imagine that one of these blocks, this flattened blocks.
That's art we see today.
Because it has a top and bottom and then it has this beveled, this angled face. And there's going to be a certain cut degree angle. Yeah. A flat surface here and a flat surface there. Right. That the other blocks will not have because they're all puffy and pillowy on the front. So when we were walking around the pyramid, there's just piles and piles of granite on the sides.
They've been quarrying it.
Quarried out. So we were looking for blocks with this angle, 2 flat surfaces
like
with
a
this
prism
angle.
stone, yeah.
And we found them. We think that there's pretty good case to be made that there was a flattened surface about this size on each
face
side of the pyramid.
Is the only reason we have this pile of casing stones here is because as people were quarrying the stuff above it, the granite off here, they were making piles of rubble down here, and it basically just covered this stuff up.
Well, didn't the big one, didn't it? It was covered with white, like a sandstone. And I think they used that because it was bright and it reflected the sun and you could see it from everywhere, right? And then it had on top of it the capstone pyramid, gold pyramid that I don't know what it did. Probably, it was the original Big Ben. It's a clock. You understand? Yeah, you know what? It's interesting, Overlander PC. Yeah, I'd like to address that real quick, and I'm glad you bring it up. I've tried it. I've tried doing that. And let me tell you what happens with me. Maybe because I haven't figured it out or haven't done it long enough. But let's say I do that. I stop and I interact. I seem to get lost in the conversations that are happening in the chat room. But you're right. Maybe I should really make it a point before moving on to the next topics to ask you guys what you think and actually listen. I think maybe I'm just going through the motions a little. But I've always done it that way because it never works. You start talking to the chat room and it's a chat room show. Then you start getting into things that they want to talk about instead of what I set up for the show. So when you come here, and don't take this, please. I understand. You have opinions and we all want to hear them and all that, but that's what the chat room's for. What I do is perform. I put on a show. You go to a play, a movie, they don't stop and interact. Now, I know that's not the same as a live show, but in my case, it is. This is my way of doing the show. A lot of people find it annoying. I can't please everybody. And the reason I go bam, 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 from topic to topic, because that's how I like it. Because that's how I like watching other shows. Now, on the other hand, when there is a topic like the Phoenix Lights, or we talk about fake psychics, or we talk about debunking UFOs, I do spend a lot of time talking about certain things that I think need to be addressed, like certain videos should be debunked, like when the Batman balloon and all this other stuff came out a couple of years ago. Everybody was involved, kind of, I thought, but I try. If I don't do it the way that makes me comfortable, I don't know. I'll try, though. So next show, I'll try that. See what happens. Got nothing to lose, except I'll make people, either I'll suck at it or it'll be good. I like what you guys say. But there's a delay too, like a 30-second delay. No big deal. But when I ask a question, I have to wait a while for the answer. Kind of lose the flow. So what do you guys think? I'll wait here while you guys, See, That's what would happen. So I tried everything, I think. All right, let's get back to work. But thank you. I appreciate constructive criticism always. Always. All right. I know you just want to come to a place where you can be heard. I'm like that too, so I get it. But is it possible that you don't have to be heard by me? The chat room's going to hear you. Everybody watching would watch and see it. I'm just trying to make everybody happy. That's it. Yeah, I can't. I just can't. So I always went back to just do what I do at the pace that I feel comfortable. But in a way, you're right. All right. Here we go. So this is normal. Don't worry about it. Nothing to see here. How many times have you heard that? Right? And then you see a video like the one I'm about to show you, which this is by far one of the most amazing chemtrail videos I've ever seen. It's one of them. This is nuts. Look at this. I've never videotaped anything close to that. Like that grouped like that. That's wild. It's illegal to do it over Florida now, but they're doing it over the Gulf, so the wind blows it over our state. So stupid. It's like they're still doing it. Some mornings I'll wake up and my car is covered in this dust. Oh, there's a lot of pollen everywhere. Yeah, right. In the winter. I noticed that they don't spray that much at night in Florida. I wonder why. Oh, look at that. That guy had a little putt-putt engine. That's a nice grouping. That's like 30 chemtrails. I've seen something close, but that's crazy. They make the grid, right? And then they put X's in the open boxes. And that's where they're going to have their target. And you're not supposed to. That's where they drop the poison. Mm-hmm. Spray it in this box is what they're doing it from here to here. As soon as you hit this line, start spraying. As soon as you hit the next line, stop spraying. I know somebody who flew planes and did that. And I wonder if he would let me say his name if I had him on. Chemtrails are strange. By the way, chemtrails are real. There's many documents talking about it since planes existed. It's been around for a long time. Cloud seeding. Feeding the sky so it can rain. It's been known. Everybody knows. And then they get into, oh, you know what? If you just spray this, that, and the other thing, guess what happens? Yeah. So they do it, and then we're all like with bronchitis, our eyes itch, we have allergies that they're like, what are you allergic to? I know, I never knew I was. Yeah. Anyway. So, no. Hold on. Okay, Kurt Jamungle. We all know Kurt. He has his show over there. What is it? What is the name of the show? I forget. Kurt Jamungle. The toe, theory of everything, something like that. Anyway, he posed this question. Political confirmation of alien visitation reality and revelation of cover-up conspiracy cabal suppression of alien reality. Did we have disclosure? No, it says. It has not happened and would have trust issues in any case. Question to those in the chat room. You like what I'm doing? Do you think we had disclosure? Put a 1 if you think there was disclosure. You don't need to put a 2 because you didn't put the 1, so we know you were a 2. Or you didn't want to answer. Understand? But it is. There's no doubt in anybody's mind would say that this is not a cover-up, a conspiracy, even a cabal, and maybe even a cult of believers. I don't know. There are cults. There are. Well, there was that we know of. You remember the one that went Heavens Above, I think it was, Heaven's Gate? They wore the Nikes or Adidas and they went boop. But they didn't. They just, stayed here. Hale-Bopp, yeah. They were going to go into the Hale-Bopp comet because there was a UFO right there hiding with the comet. Sneaky, sneaky. Those aliens, they thought of everything. Let's hide behind a dangerous comet. It's so stupid. Why would anybody think that? It doesn't make sense. Sad. So no. I see a 3. 3s, lots of 3s. There's a 1. All right. You guys like your 2s and 3s. Lunar Sparkles with a 1. It's used to block the sun. No, it's not. And you know that. I was going to get triggered off that. You know me well. It's not to burn. Do you know how much chemtrail spraying they would have to do to block out the sun? They don't have the planes to do it. Capiche? Here's Metalhead. And the answer to this, I'll give you my answer. No. Do you know Lou Elizondo said we're halfway through disclosure or something like that? Without any evidence. Yeah. No evidence. What do you mean, no evidence? All circumstantial and anecdotal. Forget about that stuff. We need hard, concrete evidence, the kind you could put a screw into a bolt and make something out of it. Not the kind where you go, well, we just say it and it's real. Yeah, there's UFOs. Boop. And I'm an expert. Boop. See? I didn't do anything, never touched a UFO in my life, but I'm an expert. You're an idiot. Don't call me a UFO expert. I'm a balloon expert. That's it. I'm nothing more than a balloon guy. After 21 years, that's what it's come down to. Do you know in 3 days, actually 2 days, is 21 years ago when I saw with my wife a couple of lights moving in the sky. And then the next night I went out at the same time to walk the dog, laid down in the Chase Lounge, looked up and saw almost the same thing at the same time, 10 o'clock. Went out the third night, nothing. Fourth night, nothing. But I was hooked. And Jeff Willis, who'll be here next week, was the very first ufologist that got back to me when I was looking for answers. But anyway, that's in a few days. I'm going to get so baked. So that's in a few days. When is Easter? Tomorrow? Easter. Oh, no. Wait, when is Easter? Isn't it now? April 20th. No. Yeah, Easter's on April 20th. That's actually the spring equinox falls on Thursday, March 20th. Wait, why are they telling us that here? I thought they were going to say something else. So the first full moon is tonight after the first day of spring, with Easter following the Sunday after. So it's the 20th? Yeah. April 20th. 420. You know, the dispensaries have $12 and it's 75% off. $12.50 eighths for indoor prime Zimbabwe. Oh my God. Please donate so I can get high. I say that. That's not nice at all. All right, let's get back to work. Here we go. Let's finish up. 2 minutes.
So I've been trying to get a hold of him because I want to help really push him forward and help him raise whatever capital he needs to keep.
All right.
The iceberg. You know, what is going on above the surface and below the surface of Egypt is on everybody's minds right now. And I'm just, when he just spoke moments ago, saying that there's still activity going on over there. My first question is this thing functional right now?
Right.
Maybe it's a working mechanism.
Don't say
and
yes.
We're using it somehow or another. What is your opinion?
Don't say yes.
The purpose of this device?
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that word, device, because it is technology. Make no mistake about it. We're talking about technology. We're not talking about some ancient underground.
Guys, what if, listen to this. What if this is a ride? It's Egypt's roller coaster, and it's called the Spiral to Hell. Couldn't that be a ride? Everybody goes down on their magic carpet. Like, they call it a magic carpet, but, you know, they would use a carpet. Put their feeties in. For all we know, that's a ride. My God, do you know how fun that would be? Anyway, you never know. Nobody knows yet. Nobody knows. What if the pyramids are Disneyland? Sorry, Disney World. Huh? What if that was an amusement park? All right, I'm getting a little crazy. Can you imagine if it was, though? Wouldn't that be the weirdest thing? The eighth wonder, seventh, whatever the frig, they make it, and it was just to ride down slides on their magic carpets.
Cavern that was just built just because
it's good weed.
Said, you know what, let's carve out 8 Burj Khalifas and just have an empty space. No, it's a device. Above ground, you see the Great Pyramid and you see the Khafre and Menkaure. You see the pyramids there. And you go, okay, this is a beautiful sight. What an amazing accomplishment. And people, what they don't understand is that the Great Pyramid itself, for example, including this other two, but the Great Pyramid, you look at it, it's not a Lego block set. It's 2.3 million individually, specifically created pieces of an interlocking puzzle. No two blocks are the same. And when someone can wrap their mind around that, they begin to understand that the Great Pyramid itself is literally made from interlocking puzzle pieces and not Lego blocks, then the whole mud ramp theory and all these other...
So that shit is Tetris? Say word.
Other ideas they came up with have to be tossed out. But then you look at the pyramid and you discover it has encoded wisdom in it. If you take the base of the pyramid and calculate it by some very simple mathematics, you can come up with the number of days in a year. You can calculate through the Grand Gallery you can calculate the speed of light. The longitude will give you the speed of light. Throughout the pyramid structure itself and the size of the stones from the base to the apex, you can calculate so many different things. You can even calculate the mass of the Earth. If you take the Great Pyramid and scale it up 43,200 times, you discover that at 432, it fits into the sphere of the Earth itself. So it makes the Great Pyramid an actual representation of planet Earth. Through also some very simple mathematics through the calculations of the dimensions of the Great Pyramid.
So in my, little brain, why would they do that? Whoever built these things. See, I don't think it was the Egyptians anymore. I think it was an ancient technology from an advanced civilization. Ancient. Can you imagine?
You can calculate the mass of the actual Earth, not the surface, but the entire mass, everything inside all the way out to the crust, you can calculate. You can calculate the speed of the Earth on its axis, the speed of the Earth around the sun, the distance from the Earth to the sun, the distance from the Earth to the moon. The circumference of the sun can be calculated, the speed of the sun around the Milky Way galaxy, and even the speed of the Milky Way galaxy around the local cluster of galaxies can all be calculated from the dimensions of the Great Pyramid, which is just like...
Say word. That's crazy. I'm going to put the link to that video and interview in the show description immediately following tonight's live stream. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for Truthology, for UFOlogy. What do you guys think? Billy Carson, he knows what he knows, right? All he's doing is just repeating what everybody else is reading and learning about what the new findings are from ancient Egypt. So he's not like lying or has an agenda. I mean, this is stuff everybody's talking about. Well, when it comes to the truth, I shouldn't say everybody, because a lot of people are afraid to talk this way. It's weird. And when I say a lot of people, I mean archaeologists. All right, it's a few. All right, one. All right, you know what? Nobody cares. That's a pretty cool interview. I like it. Juicy fruit. I want to show you this. My mother got it for me. Isn't that nice? Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2. Isn't that nice? Should be here any day. Department of Government Efficiency. I am Doge Patrol when I'm out there on RSA from now on. Put up a video today over there. I thought it was good. It's not really great, but it's fun if you know how to look at that stuff. All right. Wow, they got some really cool shirts. What else we got for you? Oh, the Philadelphia experiment. I'm not going to talk about that now. I was supposed to check this out, it says. We have tech today that can take you from anywhere on Earth to anywhere else in an hour. Wireless energy where you would never need to plug in anything again. And this comes from General Stephen L. Quast, KWAST, from the United States Air Force, Space Force. Let me see this. Oh my God, let me play this for you. Yeah, we have tech today that could take you anywhere on Earth in an hour. Really? I thought China was the only one with that kind of hyper speed technology, right? Now all of a sudden we have it a year later? It's amazing. How did that happen?
Energy, the seed corn of all development, all growth, all survival, energy. So energy, transportation, information, and manufacturing.
Hold on. I want you to look at the people. Look at the heads. Balding. too young to go bald. This guy's going bald. This guy's gray. What the hell? Every man, and I see this when I'm out in public, 8 out of 10 guys lose their hair. All right, go ahead.
These are the things that change humanity, that will change world power, and they are descending upon us in ways that are very unique. The technology is on the engineering benches today, but most Americans and most in Congress have not had time to really look deeply at what's going on here. But I've had the benefit of 33 years of studying and becoming friends with these engineers and these scientists. This technology can be built today with technology that is not developmental to deliver any human being from any place on planet Earth to any other place in less than an hour. To deliver Wi-Fi from space, where you never need a cell tower to connect. To deliver energy from space, where you never have to plug your phone in and it trickle charges, and you can use that energy over time. It can be applied to cars, to houses.
Sounds like
the technology of Edison and Tesla that we live with in our energy environment, our paradigm today, is expensive, it's dangerous, and it's wasteful.
Yeah, I know.
Plug it into the wall. But yet that's what we all do because we are used to paradigms. The power of space will change world power forever. And it doesn't have to be a big country to do it. It can be a small island country, let's say New Zealand. Because the technology, if optimized, can change world power. And there's nothing you can do if you don't have that power. The nature of power. You either have it and your values rule, or you do not have it and you must submit. We see that play out again and again in history, and it's playing out now. But we get trapped.
I thought that was going to be a little different. I didn't like that. It was a little, come on now. Man alive. It was a slow day today. It really was. So hopefully we can ring it up and start a new week tomorrow. Didn't have the members show yesterday, so I'll probably do it tomorrow. Because, I was sick. So shit. I mean, it seems to fall on the members every time. It's weird. I moved it from Sunday to Friday because I was getting sick on Sundays. Then I moved to Friday. I get sick on Fridays. It's got to be mental. I'm a mental case. All right. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Hopefully figured out what Tom DeLonge's doing. I know I didn't spend much. I told you I wasn't going to spend that much time talking about him. Because what is there to say? Tom DeLonge is gone. Now, he's still around. But he will never ever be where he was in ufology like he was 9 years ago, almost 10. Right? Isn't it weird how quick a decade went by? And what have we gotten? What have we gotten since Tom DeLonge got here? Tom DeLonge, because of his antics, gave Lou Elizondo the reins, which we all saw coming. We knew Tom DeLonge was just being used. This poor guy, I say poor guy, because how could he fall for such a thing? Well, they baited him on his emotions. They said, we could use this guy at least to propel us to where we need to go. Then once we're out there, we'll bring in Lou. And then Lou will shut the door and change the narrative to what we need it to be. But we want people's attention for what we need to do in the next few years. And that was the drone show. Everything led up to the drone show. Because if it didn't, then nothing else makes sense to me. Because the drones were coming on slowly. And then once the election started, they poured it on when Trump won. And for those 3 months before he got into the White House, and then all of a sudden the news stopped talking about it. But they were still out there doing their flying around, just not as much. But to me, I don't know. Everything just seems so scripted, for lack of a better, no, that is the better term. There's nothing left. I'm so thirsty. But Tom DeLonge got the shaft, and this is common. And I bet you, if Tom DeLonge was in the military, Lou would have treated him differently. We speak a different language. We just don't have the same, I'm paraphrasing what Lou said. Basically, we grew up on different sides of the world. I grew up in a respectable environment, and he grew up as a rock star. Something like that. That's what he meant. While he's out there humping hounds, I'm out there dropping rounds. Not bad. Anyway, Lou felt that Tommy was getting the spotlight. Lou wanted the spotlight. The government said, take that light away from Tommy. Louis did it. Louis made him look bad. Louis shattered his ego. Lou must have did a big mind job on him in the car on the way to driving hours. Lou's probably sitting there putting all these thoughts into his head. I killed 3 men with my feet. He's probably telling Tom, stories like that on the way. If Tom got out of hand, I could snap your neck like a chicken. I could snap your neck like a chicken. What movie? It was the one with the video game. Richard Dawson. Not Total Recall. Running Man. Running Man. And he's got his hand around the girl's neck. And he goes, if you run, if you scream, I'll break your neck like a chicken. That was a good movie, too. I like The Running Man. I miss those days. I want to go back. Everybody's dying. It's weird. It's weird watching all the people you watched as your heroes and just shrivel up and die. But anyway, we're alive. So, all right. Thank you very much for hanging out. We'll be back with the members Manana, if I can remember that it's a member show. Manana. And then we'll be back Monday. Okay? All right. You guys have a great rest of your night. And, we do truthology for ufology. We do it for you. It's true. All right. If you ain't looking up, you ain't looking out for ufologies. It's true. Okay. Alien bless.